Okay, so hello and a warm welcome to all. Welcome to one and everyone who is present here. Uh, Today we have gathered here for an exclusive webinar, which is titled as Ethnobotany, Opportunities and Challenges. And for this, we have with us our today's expert, Dr. Gopal Dixit. He's having 25 plus years of rich experience as a professor of botany and environmental sciences, and as a mentor to both undergraduate and postgraduate students. He is actively engaged in research in various disciplines of life sciences via plant uh, pathology, physiology, biochemistry, ecology, environmental sciences, along with Ethnobotany. He is heading the Department of Botany and Center of Research in Ethnobotany. He is also chairing International Board of Ethnomedicobotany of World Academy of Medical Sciences, that is WAMS, to the look after all the activities related to ethic, ethnic herbal medical practices in welfare of living beings. His research contribution is evidenced by more than 50 published research papers in peer-reviewed index journals of national and international reputed, and attended many conferences, seminars, synopsis, etc. Also volunteered as an associate editor, editorial board member, and peer reviewed in various research journals. So without wasting much time, let me welcome Dr. Gopal Dixit, sir.
Thank you very much for my brief introduction. So good afternoon, everybody present here.
Good afternoon, sir.
As we know, today's topic is ethnobotany, opportunities and challenges. What will be the opportunities and what will be the challenges in the field of ethnobotany? So I would like to present my lecture. I hope I am audible to all.
Yes, sir, you are.
And I am trying to show my PPTs. So I think my slides are quite visible to.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So thank you. So let's start with my topic, today's topic, that is the ethnobotany and opportunities and challenges. So myself, Dr. Gopal Dixit, I am heading as a department of botany in a postgraduate college here in Pilibhit district of UP. My institution is affiliated with the MJP Rohilkhand University, Bareilly. So, first of all, as far as the ethnobotany is concerned, we know the ethnobotany is considered as the ethnic botany or the tribal botany, the branch of botany which deals with the study of plants used by different ethnic or tribal peoples residing in different parts of the world. So, ethnobotany is the study of a region's plants and their practical uses through the traditional knowledge of a local culture and people. So, ethnobotany is initially the ethnobotany is considered as it is an old type of branch, it is a primitive type of branch, it is just a part of the branch which doesn't require a lot of modern tools and techniques, but it's not true. The ethnobotany itself, ethnobotany, it is a broad spectrum branch. It requires lot of skills with the researcher working in the field of ethnobotany. So the ethnobotany, in other words, you can say the ethnobotany is the ethnic botany or the branch of the botany which deals with the study of the plants used by certain ethnic or rural communities. The term ethnobotany was first coined by Hershberger in 1895, and its scope was much elaborated later by Falks in 1958. The Falks in 1958 done a lot of work on that ethnobotany in different parts of the world. Since then, there has been a growing interest in this field. After 1958, after of falls, the, the research work on the ethnobotany uh, going to be elaborated in certain other fields also. The ethnobotany deals with the relationship of plants with man. As far as the synonymous of the ethnobotany is concerned, it is a traditional study of plants by certain taxonomists or botanists. So it deals with the study of foods, fibers, dyes, tans, and other useful and harmful plants, taboos, magico-religious beliefs about the plants used by certain ethnic people of different places. So initially, I would like to tell about myself as far as my research is concerned. I have started my career as a plant pathologist and as a plant physiologist. But during my research work, during my teaching work, I shifted my research career from plant pathology to the ethnobotany. So, friends, most of my colleagues, they can't believe on my ability. They said me that ethnobotany is a traditional branch. It's not. It doesn't require uh, any botanical skill, but it's not true. Ethnobotany is that branch of the botany. It requires every technique, every tools, and on other hand, it will be beneficial for other researchers also, whether you are working in the field of arts, culture, music, history, law, or certain other disciplines of the science like chemistry, zoology, physics. So ethnobotany itself, it's a, in other words, you can say it's a ocean of knowledge. Here, it will be up to you, it will up to us what knowledge we gathered from, what knowledge we capture from that ocean of information in certain other fields. So as far the branches and sub branches of ethnobotany is concerned, ethnobotany has certain other branches. As I have told earlier, ethnobotany is a that part of the botany. It has broad spectrum broad spectrum disciplines. Like the first is the ethnotaxonomy. As the name indicates, the it deals with the naming and classification of the plants by different human societies in their own language. So as far as the ethnotaxonomy is concerned, because as we know that the ethnobotany is a branch of the botany, it deals with the study of the plants used by certain ethnic people, and these ethnic people describe certain plants in their own language in or on their way. Their uh, their basic of the identification of different plants is not as good as we have. Their knowledge is basically based on their traditional knowledge, generation old knowledge, and that knowledge percolates from generation to generations from years. So am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So this is the first branch of the botany, ethnobotany, that is the ethnotaxonomy. In ethnotaxonomy, when we visited the places where different tribal communities or the ethnic peoples residing in the vicinity of the forest, we noticed that these ethnic people described certain plants in their own language, in their own uh, and they're the basic of the identification, the basis of the taxonomical work is generation old. They identify plants, uh, not the knowledge which we have. They identify the plants based on their traditional knowledge, and that traditional knowledge they gained from their ancestors. So the taxonomy is a very interesting branch of the ethnobotany, and the researchers trying to work in the ethnobotany, they should consider ethnotaxonomy, because without knowing the plants, without knowing the taxonomy of the plants, one can't succeed in the field of ethnobotany. So this is the first branch, ethnotaxonomy. The other branch, the ethnomycology. As we know, the mycology is the study of the fungi. So these tribal people, these ethnic peoples are uh, doing a lot of work on certain fungi, especially the mushrooms. So the ethnomycology deals with the origin and antiquity of the use of the fungi for human beings like mushrooms, yeasts, etc., as food, medicines, and beverages, etc. So these tribal peoples, they they are they extensively use certain wild mushrooms, but as we know, the all mushrooms are not edible, but certain mushrooms are quite edible. And these tribal people, these ethnic people knows well which mushroom is edible and which mushroom is not edible. So they are, they can easily identify the edible types of mushrooms from the field. So the ethnomycology, that the branch deals with the study of certain fungi like mushrooms, yeast, etc. And these fungi, these mushrooms, these yeasts are extensively used as a food in preparing certain type of medicines or certain beverages, etc. Another branch is the ethnoecology. Ethnoecology deals with the study of past and present interrelationships between human societies with their living and non-living environment. So this is also a very interesting branch of the ethnobotany. Another branch is ethnotoxicology. Ethnotoxicology deals with the study of the uses of the toxic plants as fish poison, arrow poison, etc. by different ethnic societies. As we know, these ethnic people are these the tribal peoples are living in the remote forest areas, especially in the vicinity of the forest, and they are directly or indirectly dependent upon these natural resources coming from certain forest sources like fish catching. So, friends, these ethnic people trying to trying to catch certain edible fishes with the help of certain plants. These plants are used as a fish stupefying plants. With the help of these plants, these as they know well which plant is used as a fish stupefying plant. By the use of that particular plant or part, they can easily collect certain fishes in the living stage. These plants play a very important role in the stupefying or you can say uh, make fishes unconscious. If these fishes become unconscious, these tribal people easily collect them from certain rivers or certain uh, water resources nearby to them. Similarly, on the other hand, these ethnic people are using arrow to kill certain wild animals or for their protection, and on the other hand for their flesh, for their eating purposes. So these arrows are poisoned with the help of certain poisonous plants, and these poisonous plants plays a very important role in the poisoning of these arrows. And by these plants, with the help of these plants, they can kill their enemies, or they can kill certain wild animals also. Another interesting branch of ethnobotany is the ethnomedicine, because today we are we are taking in the consideration of the opportunities. As far as the opportunities of the ethnobotany is concerned, ethnobotany is the main branch, or the major branch, which provides lot of lot of opportunities to anyone working in the field of ethnobotany. The the branch ethnomedicine deals with the study of plants used by different ethnic people in the treatment of various human and veterinary elements based on their traditional knowledge. So it's a very important branch of the ethnobotany. It, in this branch, uh, we can study the certain wild plants growing nearby them, uh, and are used in the treatment of both human and veterinary diseases. So there are thousands of the plants growing near them. They are growing in the wild stage, and these plants directly or indirectly used by these ethnic and rural people for the in the treatment of human disease, and also in the treatment of their pets or veterinary or in veterinary ailments. So the practices of the treatment of human and veterinary ailments is basically based on their traditional knowledge, and this traditional knowledge is uh, very accurate and cost effective. And on the other hand, it shows no side effects during the treatment of especially human disease. This traditional knowledge is their generation old, or in other words, you can say this traditional knowledge is thousand, hundred years old knowledge percolating from one generation to another generation, and these the knowledge of the different plants is based on certain trial and error methods, because it's a very old knowledge. So, and on the other hand, it has no side effects, especially on the humans. So the person working in the field of ethnobotany should consider should pay major emphasis on the ethnomedicines. This, as far as my knowledge is, as far as my case is concerned, I'm basically working on the ethnomedicines used by certain tribal peoples residing in my area. Uh, as far as my study area is concerned, my study area is having a very good biodiversity, rich in uh, natural resources. So due to the very good biodiversity in my study area, very very much abundance of the certain tribal groups like Tharus, Van Gujars and Kanjars are found, especially in the vicinity of the forest. And we people trying to document, trying to gather, trying to enlist, enumerate certain plants used by these tribal people in the treatment of human and veterinary disease. So ethnomedicine is a one of the major branch of the ethnobotany. It provides ample opportunities for the young researchers uh, in this field. They can document, they can disseminate the information, they can collect information from them, mm, and to document it in the form of research papers and in the form of research publications. And many of the young people, young scientists, young researchers working in the field of ethnobotany, they are considering ethnomedicine as their major part, a major research. And many of the universities in India nowadays providing PhD degrees also and these PhDs all are based on these ethnomedicines or based on ethnobotany. So, friends, another branch is ethnopharmacology. As we know, the pharmacology is a recent branch, is a research-based branch. But as far as the ethnobotany is concerned, the part deals with the identification, description, observations, and experimental investigations of the ingredients used in different herbal preparations by these tribal people. comes under the heading ethnopharmacology. As we know, for the ethnopharmacology is a research-based branch. It requires a lot of laboratory work, lot of research-based work, or in other words, you can say that the pharmacology requires certain modern equipments for the testing of different plants and different plant parts, especially the ingredients. The plants having different ingredients like alkaloids, because the whole plant doesn't have any effect on the treatment on the of the different human or veterinary elements, but these plants have certain alkaloids, and these ethnic people don't know which type of alkaloid the plant have, but we as a researcher concentrate mostly on that plant, and especially that plant and that part of the plant. And in other words, in ethnopharmacology deals with the alkaloid, the alkaloid have present in that particular plant, because the plant doesn't have any effect without that alkaloid. So ethnopharmacology is a recent branch of ethnobotany. Another interesting branch is ethnomusicology. As a friend, the persons having any interest in the music, not in the modern music, if you have interest in the ancient music and the ethical music, so we can concentrate on ethnomusicology, because ethnomusicology deals with the study and documentation of tribals origins music, because these tribal peoples have their uh, particular type, that they're different type of music instruments, and their own made songs and musics like dances, etc. So the ethnomusicology, it's a very interesting branch for those having interest in the music. Similarly, another branch is archaeoethnology. The archaeoethnology deals with the identification of plant materials from archaeological sites for studies on migration of human cultures and origin of different crops. So it is also a very interesting branch of ethnobotany. It deals with the identification of plant materials from different archaeological sites, because as we know that our ancient archaeological sites are uh, are having certain plant materials, or the directly or indirectly used in the formation of that archaeological structure, like timber, like certain type of pastes. These tribal peoples knows certain plants, they can play an important role in the preparation of certain building materials, like timbers, like pigs, like leaf pastes. So by the study of archaeoethnology, we can we can point out the migration of human cultures from one place to another place, or you can say the migration of cultures from where people migrate from one place to another place, and origin of different crops, because every crop, whether it is cultivated or wild, have a definite native place. So by the study of archaeoethnology, ethnobotany, we can easily identify, or we can easily demarcate the place of origin of different crops in certain parts of the world. Another branch is paleoethnobotany. As we know, the paleobotany is that branch of the botany that deals with the study of the fossils and the process of fossilization of different plants. But in the case of ethnobotany, it deals with the identification of fossilized plant materials and remains for studies on ancient plant wealth of human cultures. So it is also an interesting branch as far as the if we have interest in the history of human civilization, in the history of certain plant, so we can concentrate on paleoethnobotany. Another branch is ethnogynecology. Ethnogynecology, as we know, the gynecology is the uh, that part of the science which deals with the study of certain women problems. So especially the lady scholars should concentrate on the ethnogynecology because in the tribal areas, these uh, tribal communities have very good knowledge about the certain women problems and not only the problems, but they have very good solutions also. So if we can concentrate on ethnogynecology, especially the lady scholars should concentrate on ethnogynecology because uh, they have better communication with these ladies, ethnic women. So friends, ethnogynecology is a very special branch for women scholars, and then these women, these people, these tribal peoples have very good knowledge about the women disease and their treatments also. They are these tribal communities mainly concentrate on the solution of the different women problems with from coming from different, basically coming from uh, different natural resources like plants or certain minerals, etc., etc. Another branch, ethno-narcotics. Ethno-narcotics is deals with the study of narcotics, snuffs, hallucinogens, etc. in the ancient human cultures. Because as we know, these ethnic peoples are living in the vicinity of the forest, far away from the civilized world. They are also using certain narcotics, snuffs, and hallucinogens. These narcotic products directly or indirectly came from these natural resources from nearby to them where they are living. So, so ethno-narcotics is also one of the important branch. So here, friends, in this slide, I would like to show that in the center, ethnobotany, and ethnobotany has what the aspects, what will the opportunities of the ethnobotany. You can see in this slide, I am trying to show most of the part of the study directly or indirectly depends upon the ethnobotany if you have interest in the ethnobotany. So, like starting from the botany, as we know, the ethnobotany is a part of the botany. So naturally, uh, ethnobotany had ample opportunities for the botanists. Not only botanists, it also have a good opportunity for the chemists, chemistry person, pharmacology person, the person working on the genetics. Similarly, the microbiology, statistics, indigenous law, economics, linguistics, anthropology, geography, environmental science, and ecology also. So these are few of the branches. These are few of the branches where one can pay attention on the ethnobotany. One of my friend working in the field of law, he's doing LLD after LLM. He's doing LLD from a central university. Fortunately, he got an opportunity to meet with certain ethnic people of my study area. So very interesting to note that during our visit, there was a panchayat of these these tribal people. The head of the tribal people, known as Mukhya, he is trying to resolve that issue between two families, two tribal families. They are having certain problem. When this problem comes under the notice of the Mukhya, he's resolving that issue by their by his own way, and his knowledge, his knowledge which he got from his ancestor. And in other words, you can say that they are having certain indigenous laws, and these indigenous laws are very quick in action. They, they provide justice in hours, just in hours, or you can say that in few days, the victim got a justice with the help of mukhya, or you can say with the help of their sarpanch. And these sarpanch or these mukhya trying to listen during our visit, they are mukhya trying to listen both the parties, both the one the victim and the other is a culprit, and with the help of their own indigenous law, after an hour, he declared his decision. And what was the his decision? And his decision was based on their indigenous law. And very happy to know the the victim after that decision smiled like a winner, like a just trying to show a victory sign. He got a proper justice without the involvement of any any external source, any police or certain other government agencies. So if the person trying to work on the indigenous law, these tribal people have an ample, they have a rich source of information. Similarly, they are having their own banking system. So the if you have interest in the economics, if you're trying to know how their economy growing day by day without without any help from the government sector, without any help of any foreign agency. Similarly, they have a particular language. So if you have interest in the linguistic, so you can consider, you can pay a proper emphasis on these tribal people and and very good knowledge, very good information, and you can publish that information in the form of research paper or in the form of uh, thesis or whatsoever you want to do. Similarly, the anthropology, similarly geography, certain environmental laws, because uh, as we know, these people are living extensively in the vicinity of the forest. So they directly or indirectly framed certain environmental laws in the for the protection of these, for the protection and conservation of these natural resources. On one hand, they are taking these resources, they are taking everything from these natural resources, their food, their shelter, their crops, everything, whether it is uh, timber products or non-timber forest products. So that on the one hand, they are taking everything from these natural resources. On the other hand, they are providing the proper conservation of these natural resources for their natural existence. Similar, the person working in the field of chemistry, they got a lot of opportunities in the field of ethnobotany, because as we have discussed earlier, they are using certain wild plants, they are edible, they are using certain wild plants for in the treatment of certain human and veterinary. As we know, as a whole, is not effective to control certain human and veterinary disease, but these plants have certain alkaloids, certain chemicals. A man, a chemistry man, a chemistry researcher, a chemistry scholar, if he or she should uh, want to work in the field of ethnobotany, should consider on these wild edible and medicinal plants, and they can compile, they can work further on these plants, especially the chemistry of these plants, which alkaloid, which chemical is effective and present in that plant, because as we know that the whole plant is not very effective until unless it has certain alkaloids, certain chemicals. So a chemistry man should concentrate on these chemicals, and they can do better for ourselves and for themselves. Pharmacology, we discussed. Similarly, genetics. The genetics, it deals with the inheritance of characters from generation to generation. So in the case of ethnobotany, in the case of ethnology, in the case of these ethnic people, these tribal peoples, they got information, they got uh, traditional knowledge from one generation to another generation, and the flow of the information is unidirectional, and it comes from the older generation to the newer generation. Very interesting to note that the young generation of these people, not us, these people also indulge in certain non-ethical activities, or in other words, you can say that the new people are having least interest in doing and performing these activities, performing these tribal activities. They are trying to show they are modern than their ancestors, but it's good for our society. It's good for them, but on the other hand, it's bad. It's very, because as these older persons are passing, the generations are passed away, and these older people carry this traditional knowledge, this generation old knowledge with them, without percolating into the newer generation to young ones, because young generation are least interested in practicing all these things in a traditional way. They are trying to show themselves they are modern, they are literate, they are more advanced than their ancestors. But it's a duty of us to conserve their knowledge, to document their knowledge in certain ways. Several state governments, and not only the state governments, but the government of India, also trying to document this traditional knowledge, this generation old knowledge, in the form of books, in the form of certain monographs, in the form of certain other things, because just to conserve their knowledge to coming generations also, because they have very good source of knowledge, they have very good knowledge about the plants, but if we can't conserve it, we can't document it, the knowledge will gradually lost generation to generation. So it's our duty, it's not a duty of only botanists, it's a duty of each and every person having interest in the science, having interest in ethnic people, having interest in the anthropology, having interest in the uh, ethnic communities, whether you are botanist or chemist or ecologist or environmentalist or geographist or anthropologist or economist, or even uh, you are a law student, you are a law researcher, you get ample opportunity of work, ample opportunity of research with them. So, friends, so in this slide, I'm trying to show the greenery of my research, my study area, especially my study area, as I'm residing in the Pilibhit district, and in 2014, sorry, 2014, the state government has recently established a Pilibhit Tiger Reserve, a tiger reserve in the name of PTR, or Pilibhit Tiger Reserve, because the Pilibhit district is considered as one of the second largest forest cover of the state. In my study area, there are so many network of water channels, rivers, canals, etc., etc. As I am already told, my study area is rich, having a rich floral and faunal biodiversity. I am trying to show in this picture a tiger, royal tiger, royal Bengal tiger, uh, in because the Pilibhit district has a very good number of these Bengal tigers, and in the summers, certain migratory birds migrates from uh, different countries to my study area in the search of food, shelter, and also the for inbreeding. So, friends, so friends, uh, am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In the next
Yes.
slide, in the next slide,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Slides are changing.
okay, good. I'm trying to show the lifestyle of certain ethnic people because they are living here in the vicinity of the forest. And in my study area, one of the tribal groups known as Tharus, because they are abundantly found here. They are rich in number, very good in number, followed by Vangujas and Kanjars. So these three tribal peoples are very commonly residing in my study area, Tharus, Vangujas, and Kanjars. And they are important inhabitant here. I'm trying to show their lifestyle, their living style. You can easily see their lifestyle, where they live, how can they spend their life in doing their certain daily activities. As for now, coming the technical point, the flora of the India is very diverse on one hand, and the rich in endemic taxon on the other hand. So, in this slide, I am trying to show what is the status of flora and fauna in our country. In India, because we are living in India, so India is a country where we are facing all the weathers, all the weathers, all the possible weathers, like summers, good summers, good winters, good rains, and very good autumn season also. So, uh, as we have lucky enough, as we are living in the India, so especially North India, we are having all the seasonal variations. Uh, So, due to that seasonal variation, our country has a very good flora and fauna. Or in other words, you can say that India is a very good hottest spot of biodiversity, or India is considered as the earth uh, hottest spot of the biodiversity of the world. So due to seasonal variation, due to presence of all seasons here, so the biodiversity also very good, very good in our country. So friends, I think it is the area of research that reveals the products derived from plants, natural resources, minerals, etc., used by various ethnic groups or folk people or races for their their three basic needs. As we know, every human being, whether you or I, all we have the three basic needs like food, cloth, and shelter. So these tribal people, these ethnic people, these are directly or indirectly taking or these major needs, their three basic needs like food, so cloth, and shelter from their surroundings, because most of the tribal people are living in the forest. So in other words, you can say that they directly or indirectly got food, cloth, and shelter from these forests or these natural resources. They got most of the useful articles from plant products. As far the ethnobotanical study is concerned, it deals with a variety of approaches like ethnobotany of certain geographical regions of the country or the world, because as we know that India is also divided into certain geographical areas apart from north, east, west, and south. In certain geographical areas or the regions of the country or the world, ethnobotany also varies. Ethnobotany of selected ethnic groups.
Sir, you are not audible. Sir, you are not audible.
That
Excuse me, please. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, but the screen is not visible.
Yes, sir.
If you can please share your screen.
So, friends, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are.
So, I'm just trying to show another slide. Here, Ranger man, a tribal man belonging to a Kanjar community, he's making a muda from dried rice straw. Uh, with the help of dried rice straw, he's trying to make a muda. Muda is that that mm, sitting chair where one can easily sit and do and perform their daily domestic work. This is another slide. Here in this slide, I am trying to show a plant known as Euleliopsis bainata. Euleliopsis bainata is a plant, and these plants are uh, drying in the during its their procession. So, so these tribal peoples are taking the help of these uh, running roads for their processing, and with the help of that processing, they got fibers from that Eulipsis bainata, and these fibers are used in making ropes or in in the making of certain uh, different other threads, and these ropes are used in weaving of cards. In my area, these ropes are known as ban. So, friends, this is another slide. As we know, all their all their needs like vegetables, cereals, pulses, food, etc., came from plant or plant sources. Similarly, fibers, woods, and drugs, beverages, oils, fats, waxes, agricultural instruments, etc., they are directly or indirectly came from different plants. So not only the foods, clothes, and shelter,
इससे बोलना तो हमारे वाले दिखा रहा है
अब आप उसमें ज्वाइन हो गया उसको
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Due to some technical issue, I lost my connection in between. So anyway, I'm trying to conclude my today's presentation. I hope everyone present here enjoyed it. Anyway, you have, if anyone of you have any question regarding my today's topic, excuse me, please.
Okay, so I guess there's some technical issue of Dr. Gopal's end. So let me tell you all the participants that this whole session will be available on our Research Circle YouTube channel. So if you have missed something, you can just go to Research Circle YouTube channel and you can watch there. Also, if you have any queries, you can just put it in the comment of that particular video, or we'll try to provide the email ID of Dr. Gopal Dixit, sir, so that you can directly ask your problem through email. So I would like to thank all the participants, and I would like to thank Dr. Gopal Dixit, sir, for taking out the time. And with your permission, I would like to conclude and end our session here. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.